they're the enemy so much as there's other kinds of species that would like to have you for lunch.
Well, if they might want you for lunch, how about breakfast and dinner? The two most important times of the day.
In there too, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. Oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah, all this before we're coming up to Thanksgiving. I'm thinking, see, you made me hungry, but Halloween's coming up. Oh, by the way, I gotta say, Home Depot has some really cool stuff. I got a little notice the other day on Facebook, and I opened it up, and it's like Home Depot. They got skeletons. They got creepy, like Freddy Krueger. It looks like Freddy Krueger's, 7 feet tall. You can buy all these really cryptic creatures, and you could stick them in your house at night if you're lonely.
I got to tell you, I went to CVS today, and they've got skeletons that look real of wolves. And then some of the wolves, they've got like lights in their eyes. You can light them up and stuff. They look pretty doggone real, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I could really hack having Freddy Krueger in my bedroom at night. Right next to where my wife snores.
I'd like to have a costume like that with some very dark, ominous being like Darth Vader or something like that, because I actually do voice work, and I can actually do a really deep, wicked voice if I have to.
I can do a high voice.
You can do Ronald Reagan.
Well, I can't do Ronald Reagan. I tried. I try.
You did pretty good.
Well, who has
that was good. I could tell already.
Who has the bananas? Bananas for Bonzo. He's sitting here next to me on my lap, and he's playing pocket pool.
I'm telling you, you should hear when he does Reagan talking to Borat.
That's no problem. Have you seen my sister?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. You got to have a sense of humor, and be a talk show host.
Well, you know what? We could just have just one person on the radio and have multiple. Sound like there's about multiple people on there. If you could talk to yourself and use different voices.
I don't know. Hey, can you guys hold on for a minute, please? Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another rat coming out of my shirt pocket. Damn, these rats keep... No, anyway. I'm normal now.
Oh, my goodness. Make ice cream out of him.
Yeah. I did that one time as a joke. I was in a mall called South Center. It's a big mall up in the Seattle, Tukwila area. And my wife did something to embarrass me, and I got mad at her. And I sat there, and in front of all these people, I started acting like there was a rat coming out of my shirt pocket. And then another one, and another one. Of course, I stole that routine from the Three Stooges. But I tell you what, people were stopped with their mouths open and looking. And it embarrassed her really good.
I bet it did. I'm surprised you didn't get shown the door.
Hey, Gary, I got the perfect Halloween thing for Night Dreams.
What's that?
Welcome to Night Dreams Talk Radio.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
How did that go over?
Yeah. Technology, that's how it goes.
Oh, that was me doing that.
Oh, you can get low.
Yeah, that was not special effects of any means.
Now, can you stand up after you do that?
Yeah, I didn't pass out from doing that and lose my breath.
I kind of go the opposite way. I like listening to the Bee Gees a lot, so I find myself singing. My wife goes, "Quit, you're not a girl." I go, "Well,
You're going to shatter all the glassware in the house one of these days, Gary.
I don't know. But, I really think about these abductions, getting back to a normal subject here, is that these people, like I've repeatedly said, that have been abducted, emotionally, they are so scared and scarred and really carrying this baggage with them every day. I mean, you can hear it. No offense if Timothy Collin is listening, but I can feel it even with him that he's carrying some baggage from it, along with, Dave Edmonds and everybody else I've had on the show. I think if you dig deep into it, I think it's done a deep scar to them emotionally.
Oh, you can feel it. You can feel their PTSD coming through. My heart goes out to them every time they're on. You could just, it permeates from them how they are scarred. And my God, they got to be. Well, even Calvin, he said he goes to bed like at 5:00 in the afternoon, gets up at 11. He don't want to be up at night. I can't say as I blame him because again, you've been abducted once, twice, God knows how many times. Some of you might not even remember. You might have an implant, you might not. Look at the things they do to you. Going to bed at night, that's got to be, the anxiety level has got to be really horrendous.
No, I would rather go to bed and have a good dream at night and not go to bed and worry about, hey, is tonight they're going to abduct me again?
No, I think the worst part of this is, that when they, like Calvin and the others like Timothy and all that, have these experiences of being abducted and possibly continuing to do so, they just don't let it go at one time, is the connections with other people. Other people just pass it off like, oh, that's, they don't believe it. The average person does not believe any of the stuff we're talking about, I think.
I think
maybe I could be wrong, but
I think there's a lot more because, like, when I started out in radio in the mid-'80s when UFOs started getting really popular, you know what? If you started talking about, well, I saw a UFO, I saw a green man come out of a UFO, people would walk away from you real fast. They would go and start telling other friends of yours, hey, I think George has a mental issue. Nowadays, when somebody says, I saw a UFO, a lot of people might go, yeah, sure he did. But a lot of people are going to sit there and say, maybe he did. Because there's so many reports of it. It's not like, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But, again, it just depends on what the person says and how credible. If they start saying there's 25 million cloaked UFOs circulating Earth to protect us, then right off the bat, that person needs help. I'm sorry.
Well, here's you got the hoaxers. I'm sorry. Go ahead, James.
I was going to say a perfect example of what you're talking about, Gary, is just look at Calvin. After his abduction, he lost his job. And I know that was like 40-some years ago, but things have changed from then throughout the decades. I think it's more acceptable, but however, it's still not, fully accepted by many.
Well, go work for the airline and say, gee, I was abducted, and they abduct me a couple times a year, and I think I have an implant. You're not going to be flying commercial. You're not going to have a license. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but the problem is when you start having experiences now, I don't know about abduction, but then again, there's a lot of us that don't know if we're abducted or not. See, that's the problem. But I do realize that I personally have had experiences that I can't dismiss from my mind. And it's the same difference. I want to tell people about it, but you tell the wrong people, especially when it's related to your career, and it could be detrimental to that. And family members disowning you. I mean, it runs the gambit of different types of scenarios that could not be a positive thing for you.
Well, yeah, or the other family members trying to remove your kids away from you because they think you got mental issues. Okay, I can understand that. And I understand what these people are going for. And I give, my thumbs up to the people who have been abducted and that do go and explain to the news media, that get on to various documentaries or radio shows and tell their story because they want the people to know. And again, there is some people out there who, I hate to say it, like time travelers or people reporting UFOs, that they want their 5 minutes of fame. They want to make as much money as they can for those 5 minutes, and then, they don't really care after that.
And that makes it worse because it's part of a disinformation. It convolutes the issues. It convolutes the real stories with the mixed up stuff that's not real. And people just don't like to be messing with confusion. I mean, it's very effective sometimes. Oh, well, you get drummed with this stuff after a while. It just goes in one ear out the other, and then you just go on with your regular life. and it doesn't impact you. It's just, oh, you had an alien abduction the other night. That's nice. And they go about their business. But I tell you the truth, you just can't continue to have a normal life when something like that really happens, because you have to really think through everything you ever been taught. It says, well, I got to rethink the situation a little bit now.
Well, hey, you're a woman, right? You've been abducted. You're on a UFO, right? You're undressed, laying on some type of table. They're prodding you. They're sticking things up you. They're doing whatever they're doing. Okay, you are being raped to the fullest extent of a human being raped. Then, if you're lucky and you're returned, then you are so scarred for life. The damages this stuff creates, and people just don't understand what these abductees are going through. You know, they think, You think Travis Walton or Calvin Parker, it didn't affect them emotionally? Timothy Cullen, you don't think that it didn't affect him emotionally? You can hear it like the last couple times he's on the show. It's coming out more and more, and you can tell he's almost to the point, I think we're going to find out something major. This stuff damages people for the rest of their life. It really does.
Yeah, Calvin was more impacted emotionally, according to what he said when he was last on the program, versus the physical part. It's the emotional part that stays with you forever.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah, right. It does. And thing is, you still have to function day to day, and it's hard to function when you got that on your mind all the time. And then you can't sleep very good at night because you're afraid to go to sleep, afraid to even go to bed with that anxiety of, is this the time? Is this one of the nights? That's laying heavy on you.
Well, face it, you're walking down the street, man or woman, right? And somebody abducts you, takes you and rapes you, takes you naked, does whatever they do to you, right? And you get away and you go to the authorities, right? The authorities are going to try to put that person in jail, but you're going to get counseling. You're going to get people feeling really bad for you. You know, your family members, law enforcement, the doctors, they're going to show compassion. But if that happens where you got abducted from, something else, people look at you like you're freaking crazy. Just think about that's the part I'm trying to make. It's a coin with no sides to it.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation.
I'm sorry. I was an IT professional for 35 years. Still am. But I'd be lying if I told you that my logical mind, the kind of stuff that I did for several companies, was not impacted by my experiences. It kind of changed things a little bit in my perspective about things. So it made it harder, actually, to just resume life as normal after experiencing a few things. It really did.
Yeah, it scarred you, didn't it?
Yeah, it changed my view of life totally, to such a point that I had to reevaluate what my desires were for what I wanted to do in life.
Yeah, that's scary too when that happens.
Yep.
Well, you know what? Tomorrow on the show, let's see who we have. I think we're going to have a great guest again.
Ryan Fusco.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about, UFOs. And also Ryan, after the 15th of November, will come on once a week to give us reports on UFOs all across the country and the world and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting. So tomorrow we're going to talk about UFOs and abductions and aliens and government with UFOs. But then, guess what? On the 24th, we have William Pullen on. Now, this guy is really well known in the UFO community. And it's going to be really a great show. The rest of the week, actually. And it was a great show tonight, as far as I'm concerned. But Friday, my favorite guest, I really like the guy a lot, Tobias Whalen. He's going to give us a little bit more scarier reports about cryptids because Halloween coming up. And
I like Tobias.
Oh, yeah. Well, then, you know what? Yep. Coming on the 29th, we got Jason Offutt. You know, he's the American Monsters. He's going to be back on, you know, again, because of